Well, good morning. I'm Brian Reagan. This is
Tyler Kelly.
and today we are in 1 Samuel 28 and 29, also all the way through 31. If you are looking at your reading plan, just go on ahead and read through 31. That was an oversight off of the original template. I didn't realize that they forgot the other two chapters when I transferred it over. So please just read the extra two chapters today and we'll call it good. But verses 1 through 6, Tyler, if you will,
On chapter 28?
of chapter 29.
Okay. And the Philistines gathered together all their armies at Aphek.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And the Israelites encamped by a fountain which is in Jezreel. And the lords of the Philistines passed in review by hundreds and by thousands, but David and his men passed in review at the rear with Achish. When the prince of the Philistines said, "What are these Hebrews doing here?" And Achish said to the prince of the Philistines, "Is this not David, the servant of Saul, king of Israel, who has been with me these days or these years? And to this day I have found no fault in him since he defected to me." But the princes of the Philistines were angry with him. So the princes of the Philistines said to him, "Make this fellow return, that he may go back to the place where you appointed for him, and do not let him go down with us to battle, lest in the battle he become our adversary. For with what could he reconcile himself to his master, if not with the heads of these men? Is this not David, of whom they sang to one another in dances, saying, Saul has slain his thousands, and David his 10,000s? Then Achish called David and said to him, "Surely as the Lord lives, you have been upright, and your going out and your coming in with me in this army, or in the army, is good in my sight. For to this day I have not found evil in you since the day of your coming to me. Nevertheless, the Lords do not favor you."
And verse 7.
Therefore return now and go in peace, that you may not displease the Lord of the Philistines.
And as you look at this, David had done nothing but good by Achish. He had done nothing but good technically by Saul. But Saul wanted to kill him. I think it's kind of interesting that ties in with our meditation last Friday.
I think so.
Saul had something against David. David tried to get along with him. But there came a point where Saul would not be pacified, and Saul basically went insane. And so David finds himself now with the Philistines. And you say, well, David did some damage to the Philistines back in the day. And what these guys say, I understand the argument, Tyler.
Mm-hmm. What
better way for him to get back in good graces with Saul than to kill all of us? But that tells me a couple things. And Tyler, if you have some thoughts before I bring this home on the things that I learned about David from this passage.
Like you said, it shows that David's got a ridiculous amount of honor because, like you said, David has gone out and killed, like I said, tens of thousands of the Philistines. He's also, like you said, treated Saul nothing but right, including literally cutting off a piece of his robe instead of killing him when he had the chance. Finally leaves, goes to the king of his worst enemy, and does nothing but good by King Achish, and is willing to go to battle with the Philistines and just stay in the back so he can avoid it as much as possible so as not to really do wrong by either Achish or Saul. But then, because the princes are like you said, he could totally turn this, because now that he's in the back, he can just stab us all in the back as we go into battle and get back in Saul's good graces. So,
and that was a good recap. That was a good recap of the events. And it teaches, me a couple things about David from this passage. First of all, David must have been wicked awesome in a fight. An entire army is scared of David. You say, well, he had some of his men with him, brother. He was outnumbered so ridiculous, and they were terrified of him. Sometimes people don't like stuff. They don't like people because of their own insecurities sometimes. They had their own insecurities as warriors, and David terrified them. But it tells me that David could look at someone and go, you know, I ain't done nothing but right by you. And that person's saying, yeah, I know, man. And there's a lesson there. You can still do right by people, and some people still will not do right by you. And you say, but brother, that ain't right. Hey, I'm not arguing the rightness or the wrongness of it. But when Jesus said to us in Matthew chapter 5 that we already looked at, for so treated they the prophets that were before you. So rejoice because you're in good company. David was a prophet. David did right by everybody up to this time in his life. And it seems like David kept being on the short end of the stick for doing good and doing right, but he kept on. So take courage from David. Take courage from this example. Do right. If people have a problem against you, it's probably their insecurities, but don't let that get in the way of you being clear in your conscience for doing what's right and good by everybody that comes across your path. I'm Brian Reagan, this is Tyler Kelly, and we bid you good morning and good day.